What's up?
So, good morning,
Love it.
Santo Domingo Flamingos. Principal Musso has allowed us to use the PA system to talk to one of our favorite schoolmates. Wait. Who is Corin Nemec? No, sorry. It was just a little bit of play here. Welcome, Corin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And Miss Musso would appreciate it.
Le estaba dando la bienvenida con un poquito de data sobre los Santo Domingo Flamingos. Para los más jóvenes era el nombre del liceo de Parker Lewis y de las mascotas. Estamos súper felices de tenerlo acá con nosotros, ¿verdad, José?
Pero por supuesto, un amigo, aparte ya tuve la posibilidad de entrevistarlo, está muy empapado de la cultura uruguaya y hemos conversado un montón de veces que quiere venir por acá. La última vez que hablé con él me contó que la mamá, si querés puedes traducirle, había encontrado por ahí un artículo, una revista que hablaba sobre el Uruguay como un paraíso escondido en Sudamérica. Así que...
So Jose tells me your mother found an article about Uruguay as the hidden paradise of South America.
Well, I think so. I mean, I haven't been there yet, but I hope to come.
Oh, we would love to have you over here. So
yeah, it'll be amazing.
We have a few questions about your
yes,
work
please.
and everything. So whenever you're ready, we can shoot.
Absolutely, shoot.
Empezamos nomás.
Hablando de la familia, su familia es una familia de artistas. La madre es pintora, poeta, diseñadora gráfica y el padre es diseñador de escenografía. Por ejemplo, trabajó en Los Goonies, peliculón. Queremos saber qué lo interesó en actuar en vez de estar detrás de cámaras y si iba mucho al set con el padre.
I mean, honestly, I think that if I hadn't got the acting bug, I most likely would have followed in the footsteps of my mom and dad, in the artistic design, side of things. But it was the movie Goonies that really inspired me to become an actor, because I just saw what great fun those kids must have been having portraying the roles and carrying out the storyline of that movie. And I understood the dynamics of film production at a very young age. So I wasn't ignorant to the fact that there was like cameras and sets and all that stuff. And that's what excited me even more, because as a young kid, me and my friends would, I lived near a huge swath of woods, and we would go back in the woods and play like Dungeons and Dragons and, like Vietnam War and all kinds of stuff. And, we'd have sticks for swords and sticks for bazookas and sticks for guns, sticks were used for everything. And I realized that as an actor, I could do the same thing, but I would have the wardrobe, the props, and the environment to do the same thing in. I just didn't realize you'd actually get paid for it, but sometimes it pays great, sometimes it's garbage. But the point is that I get to do what I love to do.
Got you covered in D&D if you ever want to play.
Oh, right. Fantastic, my friend.
Mi pregunta es, se la hice en el vivo, pero ahora estaría bueno volver a preguntársela para que le llegue a más gente y capaz que la puede extender un poquito más. Es cómo cambió o qué aspectos cambiaron de su vida al ser famoso siendo tan joven, y si aparte de eso, si él se arrepiente de alguna decisión, me refiero cuando él protagonizó Parker Lewis, cómo le afectó en su vida la fama, y si se arrepiente de alguna decisión que tomó siendo tan joven, como de repente quizá no ahorrar dinero o algo similar.
Yeah, no, I would say that the biggest downfall, and it's happened to so many young actors, is that we don't understand the dynamics of finance. And generally speaking, we turn over a lot of our responsibility to managers and things like that. And I had a business manager who stole a lot of money from me over a number of years, and to try and get the money back, it was very difficult, because if somebody doesn't have the money and you sue them for it, you're not going to get it anyway. But also the time and expense you're going to spend on trying to get it back, it could be more than it's worth. So, that was a really hard lesson to learn, because realistically, by the time I was in my mid-20s, I really should have never had to work again, but it's fine, because it pushed me to continue, pursuing acting from a grassroots level, really, and fighting for, my place in the industry as an actor. So, it had its pros and cons, but, I'll say that the fact that I've had longevity like this as an actor who started at 12 years old is pretty damn amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yo le quiero preguntar en esta era de los remakes y de tratar de sacar títulos de los 70, de los 80, de los 90 y nuevas versiones que generalmente no tienen un buen resultado, si él vería viable un remake de Parker Lewis, con de repente quizás él siendo padre y quizás la vivencia sean de un hijo adolescente, si alguna vez se le ocurrió, si sería viable en esta época, con este nuevo público.
Well, they did. The creators of the show did take a concept for a reboot of the show to Sony Television, and they pitched it, and it did get turned down. And it was kind of what you're talking about Parker Lewis's son, really. You know what I mean? And I was kind of playing the role of Tim Stack, who played my dad, and all that. But my idea for the show was a polar opposite. I had actually pitched to the creators of the show to do Parker Lewis Can't Win, and he's now an adult, and Miss Musso's become the mayor of the town. Lemmer's now like the sheriff, and they've ruined everything he's ever tried to do to be successful, and now he's like living on Mikey's couch. Mikey's now a big rock star. Kubiak's a big wrestler. Everybody's made a success out of their lives, and Parker Lewis is still trying. Now he's like the underdog, and I thought it would be like a great opposite, kind of a reverse of the whole show. And but they went a more traditional route with it, which I don't blame them. But it was just too big of a cast. I mean, every single character has kids, and you're talking about tripling the size of the cast, and the size of the production. So but it could be a good reboot, But that said, I'm happy with the projects I've been doing recently and the stuff that's coming out soon, and the films that I've just wrapped up, and the ones that I'm set to do in the future. So, I can't say that things have been stagnant. Obviously, last year was very stagnant for all of us, but the fact of the matter is, I've been blessed to have the ability to continue working in the industry and continue doing what I love to do, albeit on different levels of budget and all of that. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're an artist, you do what you love to do regardless.
Hablando del cast anterior, por ejemplo, el que hacía Limer era bastante pilico, podría ser un buen policía, y yo sé que muchos de ellos están retirados incluso, pero me gustaría saber si siguen en contacto, si se ven o algo.
Yeah, well, actually, we had a reunion not that long ago at a convention in France, and they flew myself, William Jane, who played Mikey, Troy Slayton, who played Jerry, Abraham Ben Ruby, who played Kubiak, and Maya Bruton, who played my sister in it. And they flew us all over there. We had an amazing time. It was great for all of us to get back together again. That said, the people I stay in touch with most from the show is Abraham Ben Ruby, who played Kubiak, and Troy Slayton, who played Jerry. For some reason, we've just developed a friendship that has outlasted all of these decades, and we still stay in touch regularly and get along great, And some of my more derelict friends I've sent to Jerry, to Troy Slayton for representation.
Cool. Bueno, a mí me gustaría saber si se pudo quedar con alguna de las camisas o los relojes.
Oh, Lord, no. Oh, the watches weren't really swatches anyway. Swatch allowed us to use the word swatch, the name swatch in it, but they wouldn't give us the actual swatches to use in the show. Adidas did sponsor us. I got a lot of free Adidas stuff, but as far as that goes, it was more shtick than anything else. You know what I mean?
Le quiero preguntar una cosa. Él también está haciendo proyectos que está produciendo, incluso está en unos nuevos proyectos que vamos a conversar más adelante, pero quiero consultarle algo que está sucediendo ahora en la industria del cine, y es esto de que las películas, muchas son financiadas por estos servicios de streaming como Netflix y HBO, y de repente se estrenan en los servicios de streaming con una diferencia de un mes o de 45 días o de 90 días entre un continente y otro, lo que está favoreciendo de manera impresionante la piratería. Quería preguntarle qué opina él con respecto a todo esto, a este nuevo comportamiento del cine, y si él cree que esto le puede llegar a afectar a la industria del cine y al cine como establecimiento.
It's a double-edged sword. It all depends on your distribution company, if you have an honest one or not, which there probably isn't one. But I'm in the middle. What's up, brother? Good to see you, Lou. I love you, man. Yeah, brother, I love you. My neighbor.
We say hi. Tell him what's up.
I would say that honestly, back in the day when you still had video stores and all of that, it was a lot easier for an independent film production to make money back through DVD sales and rentals and all of that. Nowadays, when you get on these platforms, it's difficult to really figure out, what you're making and how much you're making as a producer, because the distribution company can hide all of those numbers from you. And it's very difficult to find out what's really going on behind the scenes, So I would say that for film, it's very tough now for the independent films to really see a return. I would also say that although for TV series, though, it's a great opportunity now for people to really ramp up and do some TV series work independently and get it sold and get it on air. And that's where I think kind of the real money is and stuff like that. How long has it been for this now? Oh, I'll be sorry. Another neighbor of mine. I just got back today, so everybody's saying hello. Good to see you, brother. I'm doing an interview, but yeah, I should be back for about 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah, man, we'll catch up, brother. Yeah. This guy does some amazing makeup, special effects makeup.
Cool.
And yeah, he's great. Yeah, really incredible.
Seems like a nice neighborhood.
Sometimes, like yeah. I see him next door sometimes, building like his faces and all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. He does some great work. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I really think it's very tough unless you can sell your film to like a platform like Netflix or Amazon or one of those, because if you put it up yourself, which you could stand to make the most money from, but the marketing side of it is so expensive. You know what I mean? You have to have a serious amount of budget left over somehow, to be able to spend on marketing, unless you have a really, really hip, slick, and cool PR rep who can get you out there in the mainstream media without having to do all of the promotional spending. So it's tough, man. It's very tough today to get your money back. It's very tough, but people are still making films. They're still doing it because what else are we going to do? It's what we do for a living. It's our life. It's what we, it's like me as a graffiti artist. Like, I don't make a dime off doing graffiti art, but I love to do it. I have to do it. So I'm willing to spend all my own money on doing murals and things like that, because it's just part of me. So I think that just spills over into every aspect of being an artist and living creatively.
So with Stargate SG-1, you got in the show after several seasons of a well-gelled cast. How was it being integrated into that cast that was so long-standing? And I know there was a bit of a backlash against Jonas Quinn by the people who wanted Daniel Jackson to stay. Did you get any of that backlash personally from people?
Well, at that time, I really wasn't savvy about online stuff, and the online thing hadn't really hit as much. I mean, they were still getting actual letters to the production office, but the PR rep for the show had kept all of that secret from me, because he didn't want me to be like, concerned about all the hate mail that was coming in for casting somebody against, Daniel Jackson, Michael Shanks. The issue really was that they were having a backlash against me for something that I had no control over. I mean, I'm an actor. I had a great opportunity to play a great character on an amazing show, and I stepped in, and because the cast and the crew and the writers and producers and all that are so great, that it was like being welcomed with open arms, and it was like a very long Thanksgiving dinner. And I really felt that they did a great job introducing the character slowly. They didn't just shove the character down your throat.
Agreed.
I really wish the character would have lasted longer. I think what ended up happening, what I know what happened is that Sci-Fi Channel, because of all the backlash, they got really concerned about the future of the show, because they had just bought it and they were spending millions of dollars on it, and they were concerned that that what happens to their pocketbook. And so based on all the backlash that came when I went, and this is before even any of my episodes aired, you know, so they were getting huge backlash. And then so they made the decision to go ahead and introduce Daniel Jackson back to the cast at the end of the year. Now, he chose to leave the show. It wasn't like, you know, I stepped in and they fired him because of me or anything like that. You know, he was a personal decision on his part. But you know, fortunately for him, he accepted the part back and had another great, you know, 4 or 5 seasons out of it. But that said, the reality is that once this show started airing, they started getting the opposite of that. They started getting like letters coming in going, "Oh, we actually really like him now," and all this stuff. But they had already made the decision, and it was too late at that point. You know, the train had left the station. So I ended up getting written out, and realistically, you know, I would have taken a pay cut if they had kept me in. You know, I would have gladly taken a massive pay cut if they had kept my character in the show. But I think that they saw it being more problematic to have that many characters on the team, you know, and plus me and Daniel Jackson are doing the same thing. So, you know, what do you do? What do you do with those 2 characters? Although the episodes that I did with Michael Shanks, I thought were awesome. And me and Michael Shanks got along great. You know, there was no animosity at all between us. And we've done a lot of conventions together. We've always had a good time. We've always been good friends. And he's, you know, a really nice guy. So, you know, I have to say, you know, it was a bummer that I didn't last longer on the show. But at the same time, the length of time I did stay on the show did so much for me in the long run, you know, that it was just a huge plus to my life, you know, a huge plus.
Yo sé que trabajó un poco con los productores ofreciendo historias para Stargate, incluso escribió uno de los episodios en la temporada 7 Fallout. A mí me gustaría saber qué le hubiese gustado que pasara con el personaje si hubiesen seguido.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think, you know, obviously he's so similar to Daniel Jackson's character, you know, as a researcher and knowledgeable about, you know, all of the past and everything, even though he had to play catch up to the amount of knowledge that Daniel Jackson's character had, you know, you know, I really think that if they had kept him on the show, I think it would have been okay to leave him at the SG place and let them all go out and have him more take a kind of a backstory character and help them out from the you know, from the military base versus having to always be out on the you know, on the different planets and missions with them. I think he could have easily been somebody that they called up or they got in touch with to help, you know, support whatever mission they're doing and get information that they couldn't get while they're off planet, so to speak, you know.
Cool.
I think that would have been a good way to do it because you could have limited the amount of time that the character was on air, as well as be able to make sense out of why he was still part of the team.
Excellent. Bueno, tiene unos poquitos minutos nomás, tanto él como la reunión de Zoom, así que le vamos a preguntar un poquito sobre en qué está trabajando, porque sabemos que está laburando en cosas de ciencia ficción, de zombies, en montones de cosas en diferentes estadios.
Well, you know, quickly, I think that I did a movie with a great film company called Toric Films. We did one called Day Labor, and it's a very dark film, actually. It's and it's going to definitely be one that people are uncomfortable watching. It's about a family of kind of redneckish, you know, type characters who live on the border of Mexico and America, and one of their family members were killed by some coyotes, some gangsters who were smuggling people across the border through their property. And so they decided that they're going to start kidnapping people who sneak across the border and then hunt them down until they can escape and get back across the border safely. It's a very dark movie, but it has a positive outcome to it, you know, in the end. And I'm supposed to do another film with them in December, where I play a serial killer. So we'll see how that goes.
You have some experience in that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Ted
yes,
Bundy,
I do. Yeah, Ted Bundy, and Richard Speck, and a few others. But you know, so that's one of the darker ones. I just finished a really great film called Half Dead Fred. Great writer director Braun Theron, or Theron. I always mispronounce it, but it's Braun Theron. And I play a detective who can talk to the dead. So he's like a medium detective. So I'm solving crimes and speaking to the dead on the scenes of the crimes and all of that, and lacing together like the actual events that took place. And it's got a great air of sincerity to it, but at the same time, it's got a great brevity, like a great comedy to it as well.
Nice.
Very, very humorous when it needs to be. I just finished that a few days ago, and I went straight from filming that to doing Dark History Horror Con in Champaign, Illinois. I just got back from that tonight. So it's been a whirlwind, but that film I'm extremely excited about. I think it's going to be fantastic. I also just finished shooting a pilot for a TV show called Blackwater Blues that myself and the actor Jason London created together. I wrote the script for it. We shot it in Mississippi, here where I am now, and in South Mississippi along the Gulf Coast. Beautiful place, by the way. But that's a murder mystery. It's about two brothers whose mom used to be a bookkeeper for what's called the Dixie Mafia. The Dixie Mafia is like the mafia of the southern coast here along the Gulf Coast. They've been around for decades. And she disappeared, when we were in our late 20s. And in our quest to try and find out what happened to her, we both ended up going to prison for many years. And when we get out of prison, our grandfather passes away and leaves us a list of clues about what happened to our mom. And that's where the series starts. So, and in trying to discover what happened to our mother, we uncover all the dirty secrets of the small town we live in.
Yo le quiero agradecer porque, ya te digo, me pone muy feliz por él que, como dijo, haya empezado de tan joven y que pueda seguir con su carrera. Lo veo ya te digo, lo sigo en las redes y veo todo el esfuerzo y el cariño que le está poniendo a estos proyectos actuales, que siento como que él está dando a luz hijos. Me pone muy feliz por él, me parece una excelente persona y me pone muy feliz que pueda estar dando a luz todos estos proyectos y el entusiasmo que le pone. Así que nada, agradecerle por este rato que se tomó con nosotros.
Y lo esperamos pronto por acá cuando se pueda, ¿no?
Sin duda, sin duda, sin duda.
I would love that. And by the way, one of our co-producers here locally, his name is Brad J. He's traveled to Uruguay.
Oh, you can get some advice from him.
Well, no, but he told me that you guys make the best chorizo in all of
sir.
South America.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So, I have to experience this. I have to experience this.
No
He
part of
actually
the cow,
asked me
no part
if
of the
you
cow
guys
is
could
left
mail it some.
uneaten. Unlike India, it's the complete opposite. We do everything.
I love it.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. You've been a real champ, real king.
Hey, my pleasure as well. And honestly, man, I would love to come down there and visit in person and all of that. And I would do it on the absolute lowest cost possible to your pocketbook. So just know I would come down there for you guys and for
this
the
guy is the
experience
producer, so
and not
he
for the money, my
welcomes
friend.
that.
I would love it.
Thank you. Have a good night, Corin. Thank you very much.
God bless you both, man. Much love.
Thank you. Much love.